Yeah, it's a good question, and not having done either, it's hard to really opine on it. Look, again, this is a little bit. I'm sure every generation would say this. For me, I'll take a step back and I'll just sort of make one comment. I am very grateful that I did not do finance in undergrad, and I'm actually very grateful that I had a chance to really kind of explore other things before getting into it, because I do see a lot of people that and many of them are successful. Maybe they have this passion and knowledge of what they want to do. But I just would work, if you don't really know what you want to do, I'd make sure to give yourself enough of a chance to explore other things. That's sort of one comment. I think that's happening less and less. Sort of one comment. The second comment I'd say is sort of going back to that differentiated thinking. I kind of know where the firms are in terms of the way that the big firms are. And unfortunately, there's a different answer there. But I do think over time, having different ways to think about things, and sort of as you think about yourself as a person, rather than just how do I get into the next job, I think making sure that you have a diversity of experience is really important. So I would worry a little bit, and that's why we encourage our folks that do this, that when we hire somebody out of school directly, that they just sort of stay at Warburg their entire time. So I think generally when we're hiring people out of school, and we've been very successful doing that actually, we were one of the early to do it, we're trying to find ways for them either to go to business school or to get seconded into one of our companies so they get a different experience. Look, to answer your question more pragmatically, I think it's really hard, and unfortunately getting harder to get into the larger private equity firms without that, 2 years of investment banking or 2 years of consulting. So I think if that's like really where the mind is, I would recommend doing that. It'd sort of be kind of a little bit irresponsible to say just go do whatever you want to do. I'd say if you are a little bit a bigger risk appetite and are less sure, I would be very encouraging of people to think about maybe going and working in a real company for a while, or taking on an entrepreneurial thing. And you probably will end up pivoting not to the largest private equity firms, but you'll pivot to firms that are starting up that are looking for really smart people, where you can have tremendous economic opportunities. So that's much better than at the larger firms, or to the VC or mid-market world, where it's all competitive these days, unfortunately, but where just the N is bigger, and so you kind of have more ability to look at things. So not one. I don't think there's sort of like one path to it. Look, I do think the opportunity to go, if it were me personally and I had the opportunity to go out of school directly into private equity versus banking, I would probably go directly into private equity, because I feel like, you'll learn most of the same stuff. I don't think there's sort of a big diversity in the investment banking skill set in the first 2 years versus private equity. And then you're kind of getting the benefit of being more on the buy side if that's where you want to end up. So that decision is a little bit easier in my mind, but those opportunities are really competitive and hard to get to. And there's just a lot of paths to kind of get to the promised land.